Hello. Today we're going to make some tempo synced VJ loops in Blender using Fractality. So this is a little bit of a Fractality overview and tutorial. We're going to make some of these loops, and then we're going to take them in Resolume and make a little composition, and we're just going to do it from start to finish. So let's get at it. I'm going to start from a fresh file here so we can just do this together. The first thing I'm going to do is just initiate Fractality here. Oh, actually, first thing I'm going to do is turn on screencast keys so you guys can see what I'm doing. I think this has to be like 50 or something. Yep. All right. I'm going to initiate Fractality. I'm going to do Profit Tree because this is a pretty classic design here. So we're going to start here. And let's see. We need 120 BPMs at 30 rates per second, 30 frames per second. So I'm going to switch to 30 frames per second, and we're going to switch to 240 frames because that's 16 bars. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is just set up an LFO panel here that's going to allow me to animate everything. I'm going to get rid of some of this, and typically I just kind of slide way off there so I can not have anything visible in here. Scooch this over. I just want to see just my LFO controls here. So if I add LFO, it'll just be a nice lane for my animation controls. And all right, so let's see what we got here. The first thing that I kind of want to do to set this up is talk about animating these fractals and what to expect. The size is going to in large part determine your performance because it's going to change how many verts there are in your mesh. So if you try and animate this stuff when there's a whole bunch of verts, it's just going to be more difficult. So I like to try to keep it as small as possible. In this case, I'm going to set it to 12. I'm going to turn down, I'm going to reset this to Profit Tree real quick, set this to 12. And then I'm going to bring the scale down so we get a similar design just in the smaller format. And obviously it doesn't look like much right now. So now that we have one, I'm going to go ahead and array it. I'm going to make a array of 3, and then I'm going to make an array of 6, and we'll go on the Y. And this just gets us set up for like a 16:9 camera view. And while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and get us set up for our camera view. I don't know why screencast keys isn't fine anymore. Let's see here. Whoops. Switch back. All right. And we'll just say line active camera to view. View active camera. That didn't work at all. Why didn't that work? Let's go back. Here, view, align active camera to view. There we go. And we're going to switch our cam to probably 35. And now we're just going to drag it out until it fills. All right, so now we've got a fractal filling our camera space. And if we animate it, it's arrayed. So the next thing we want to do, because if we switch to render view here, we're not going to be able to see anything, is we need to create a material that helps us visualize our fractal. So we're going to do a separate along the Z, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to come in here, we're going to say new material. We want to grab a color ramp, and then we want to grab a gradient. We want to separate it along our Z. And then we need to actually give it some mapping. So we'll give it the mapping, and then we will take it from the generated texture coordinate. Okay, and there's no light in our scene, so it's still dark. So instead of using a base color and adding lights, I'm just going to send this to emission, and we're going to set this to maybe 3 or 2. Okay, so now we can actually visualize our fractal. If we move this up, you can see that we're kind of pushing up that line. And if we add some tight lines here into our gradient, it can help make things a little bit more interesting. to help visualize our deformations. Let's see here, I'm trying to bring this color over, switch it back to black, add another black, and we'll push that up. Okay, so now we can see how we can also animate these and play with these to get some nice effects. And the other area we can do some interesting animations is on the scale of the z-axis. So now we can see how it's kind of taking it away from us or pushing it up towards us. And as we do that, if we animate these at the same time, we can get some really interesting things, some interesting things going on. It's pretty stepped, so I'm going to add a subdivision subsurface modifier. And we're going to put it up at the top, so it's the first thing that happens. And now if we animate this, all right, so we're getting somewhere. Let's add some animations. I use Alpha Express because I just don't want to use keyframes because I like to be able to change things around. So I'm going to say use BPM. Set the BPM to 120. Division of 1 is fine. And now we just need to decide what we want to animate. And this is there's a lot of just kind of playing around. So I'm just going to call this F1. F1 is already at 0.1, so I'm going to say the base value is 0.1. And we'll just try an amplitude of 1 and see what happens. So I'm going to take this, copy it, paste it here. Whoops, yourself, there we go. Paste it into the driver expression. And now when I press play, this is going to be synced to 120 BPMs at this division. It's too fast for me, so I'm going to say 1 divided by 16. And now it's going to be a lot slower. So let's talk about what this is doing. This is modulating this factor, as you can see, from 0.1 up to 1.1 and back. But you can see that as it gets up to around 0.5 or 6, it kind of just disappears because that factor is having too much of an impact. So we can either stay here and say, okay, well, I'll actually only go up by 0.25. 0.5 maybe. Okay, cool. So I'm okay with that. I'm just looking for a little bit of movement. I'm not too stressed about what it looks like at this point because there's still a lot for us to do. The scale of 3, so I'll say add LFO. We'll call this one scale, and we'll say start from 3, and we'll try an amplitude of 3 and bipolar. So let's make sure we turn on BPM, and this one will do 1 divided by 8, and we will say okay, grab that, put that on scale. And let's see what we get. Okay, starting to have a little bit more life. I'm actually going to switch this to 1/16 as well. And now we can change our animation. We can just change these values anytime to change our animation. So it makes it much easier than trying to go into keyframes and individually change each keyframe. We can minimize this guy. A little bit too much going on here, so I'm going to step back. I like to have sort of slower, smoother animations, trying not to get too jerky. There's some interesting things happening already, though. Let's go back to scale. I'm curious if, yeah, there's some. Let's do this. Let's turn off our X-ray mode so we only see what's happening here. Switch this to 0, and we're going to add a scale Z LFO. Say use BPM. We'll do 1 divided by 8 on this guy, and we're going to start at 0. We'll say bipolar, amplitude of, let's try 3. We'll copy that, and we'll do this, and we'll do this. All right, so now that's scaling, towards us and away from us, and we can probably crank that up a little bit higher. That's probably too high. All right, so we're getting somewhere sort of interesting here. I'm happy with these enough. Let's see. I wonder what factor 2 will do. Factor 2 doesn't appear to be doing too much, so I don't want to. You can always just play with stuff and see if you like the changes. Yeah, there you go. There's a lot of change happening here, so I kind of do things like this and see like, okay, there's a lot of change if I just move this a little bit. So I know that I just want to move it a little bit. All right, so let's try 5. So we'll say add new LFO. Call this factor 3. You don't actually have to rename them. I just do it just to be organized. And now I feel like our scale is just going too much. So I'm gonna go back to scale and say, all right, let's just do a scale of 2. And Yeah, that's okay. Maybe start at 1. Let's see. Yeah, all right, I'm okay with that. I'll do 0 and 2.5 just for the fun of it. Okay, use BPM 120. This one we'll do 1/8 again. And if we wanted to, we'll switch this one to triangle just to get a little bit of a different wave shape going on. And factor 3 is at 5, so we'll say base value of 5, and we'll do an amplitude of 2 and see what happens. So send that to number 3. All right, let's see here. Let's try to get something a little smoother going on. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. And remember, we're just gonna work in grayscale here, because we will be doing our colorization in Resolume after we make these, after we print these loops. Okay, this looks kind of interesting. And let's see, that's 1/8. I wonder what happens if I do 1/16 here. So I'm just gonna play with the values now a little bit and just try to get something that I like. Because we're gonna be layering these, you know, I like to have some negative space in here. We haven't animated the textures at all, so let's go ahead and animate some of our textures here. We'll see what we like to, let's see what would be good to play with. Scale Z, probably not so much. I think we just kind of want to animate some of our actual color ramp nodes here. So we can animate the position, so we'll say add LFO. We're just going to minimize these guys. And we'll just call this ramp position. And we'll say use BPM, 1/16. And our value is between 0 and 1 here, so I'll say 0.5, 0.5, bipolar, grab it, and I'm going to do this white one here, this gray one, place it there, and now you can see this color ramp is actually animating. And I'm going to do a similar thing with one of our blacks, and I'm actually going to add in another white here. Add in some more white. I'm going to add this white like right to, okay, press pause so we don't get jumped around. Just going to try to find a place. I definitely want black on the bottom just because it's it basically gives us our background match. So I'm just kind of playing around and seeing where things might look most interesting. And let's see what we can do here. All right. We'll go back to our scale. I wonder if we pump this up a little bit. 0.5. Let's see what we got going. There's definitely a bit of experimenting. The good news is once you sort of have something, it's really easy to make a bunch of variations because you can just change your values here. Let's see what we can get. I'll press pause on that. Yeah, it's a little closer to what I like to see. A little bit too much white going on at some points. Like right here, I feel like there's just too much white in the scene, so I'll step into one of our whites and see what happens if we turn it black. All right, starting to get some kind of nice effect going on here. We still have some factors here that we can play with. You can also play around with your gradient types if you just want to see what happens with different settings. Certainly doesn't hurt to just check things out. Yeah, quadratic looks pretty cool. Yeah, that looks like it will work very good getting layered, which is what I'm looking for, because you know in the end you're going to be, well, at least in my workflow, I layer these things to create even weirder things. So let's see here. We still have a factor 2 to work with. I'm going to see if we can make something interesting happening here. So I'm going to go back and say LFO2. We're going to call this factor 2. Use BPM. I'm going to divide this by fourths since we haven't done any fourths yet, and do a triangle. And we're just going to say copy, paste, and I think that was at what, 11? Whoops, 1 divided by 4. 11 is where it was. And let's see. Can we get anything interesting out of this? Yeah, I don't hate it. I kind of like it, actually. I think it's going to layer pretty well. The way that it kind of goes dark and comes back is nice. I'm just going to see if I like this more than the linear. Yeah, I think I do. I think I like the quadratic better. So I'm going to stick with the quadratic. And I'm gonna try switching our animated texture to black and then switching the in-between nodes to white. And I'm gonna add some dark gray. We don't have enough darkness kind of coming in here. Let's see. We'll do that, and we'll go up here. Make this one white. And put it right up next to it. We'll make this one another dark gray. A little too dark. And let's just see what happens there. Okay, so I like the lack of white a little bit better, but now there's just not enough. So grab this guy. Maybe just make this guy white. Okay, cool. All right, I do now. I like where we're getting. Let me just make sure that where is it? Where's bloom? Make sure you have bloom on if you're gonna use emissive. Should make things look a little more interesting when they get on. All right. So yeah, so things are looking better now. I just don't like this state here that much. I want to make our darkness state a little bit more interesting. So I'm gonna pause in darkness and see if sliding this value will help at all. Yeah, let's see where we were there. Okay, so around that looks pretty interesting. So around 0.14. So I'm going to say add LFO. We're going to call this LFO4. And we want the base value to be negative 0.14. Use BPM. 1 divided by, let's see, we'll just do 16. Base value is 1.4. We'll copy this. We'll add it to factor 4. And we'll see if that's any good. All right. Cool. All right. I do like what's happening now more. I just think that I don't love that phase. This phase right here, I'm not in love with. Oh boy, let's see. So it doesn't look like this one's gonna have any effect. So let's keep going. Let's step back until it gets to right here. And let's see which of our LFOs we need to change to adjust this particular shape. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just going through our LFOs that we set up and playing with the base values and amplitudes to see if any of them affect this state the way that I want them to. And it's very possible that that they won't. So let's see here. It almost seems to not be updating at all. Okay, this is pretty cool. This is much closer to a usable loop for me, so I'm pretty happy with it. It gets a little bright right around here, so let's just see if we can clean this up somehow. Just make it a little less. Let's step back, step forward. All right, so that's the so we managed to get rid of this. I don't know why it didn't update while we were doing it in real time. I'll have to take a look at that. Nice. Okay, I do like this. So this will be a really nice loop layer. I think I like this. So I'm gonna. Well, there's just this one little part that I'd like to improve. Right in here, I would like to improve just a little bit if I can. Right here. Let's see if we can do something to clean this up. The question is, why is this not updating in real time like it usually does? And it must just be because these values are now being driven, which makes sense. And here's what it looks like in solid mode, what our mesh is actually doing. Switch back to rendered, balloon might be a little hot now. Let's see what value 1 looks like. Let's see what value 3 looks like. 2. All right. I do want to play with these. We just got to play with them in real time. So let's see. Not a huge fan of that. Not a huge fan of that change. We'll step back. And again, the nice thing is, even though it's not perfect, if I did want to render this out as the first one, it would be fine. It would be usable. I just want to try to make it a little bit better. There's just this moment that I know we can make better. Let's see here. Quite a bit of experimenting is required. Here we go. Yeah, this looks pretty interesting. Okay. Now I feel like we've got a really nice... Yeah, this is a really nice loop. Okay. So we are affecting our scale here, which makes sense. I want it to fill the screen border just a little bit more. So I'm going to say 3.5. And it should fill more. It should also take away more. So let's do -2 and 3. See what we get. That looks pretty good. I'm going to say -1 and 2. It might be pretty close to what we already had. -1 and 1. Yeah, that's really close. Really close to what I'm trying to achieve now. Now we're back at this little phase, unfortunately. Let's see, I might set this back to 3. Play around with some of this other stuff again. So now we're just in a place where we're just playing. We're just grabbing values and playing around until we get something that we really like. This is a kind of a cool effect. It's a little jittery, but it's neat. And I do think that we're ready to start exporting loops and saving varieties. So I'm just going to hit save. Oh, okay, so I had to cut the recording and jump back in here, thanks to OBS crashing Blender. I'm not sure what's happening, but here we are. I'm going to call this our first loop. I'm happy with this. I think that when it's layered, it's going to do some really cool things. So I'm going to export this. So I've got, we need to set a directory here, and I'm definitely not going to use the Blender File Explorer again while I'm recording, because it'll crash. So I'm gonna set it here, and we're gonna say, okay, copy path. All right, and we'll go here and say paste, and I'm just gonna use this. Something else to know about Fractality is that it's going to crash Blender's render animation system if you're not careful. So and I think lastly, do I want to... Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 levels, and here. So okay, I'm ready to export the first clip. So I'm gonna use render to PNG, and it's gonna be in the output. So render frames PNG. It's gonna put the PNGs in here. So when this is done, I'll be back, and we will make our variations. So we'll do. Let's see, we'll do 4 variations of this, and then we will start from scratch, and we'll make 4 new ones. And then once we have those 8, we'll jump into Resolume, and we'll mix with them. Okay, so Blender is done exporting that, and we're gonna make some varieties now. So to make the variety, I'm just gonna play around with our values here in our LFOs, and just until we get something different that I like. And it doesn't need to be, you know, it doesn't need to be majorly different. Just a different layer that we can play with. So yeah, what do we got? We have size here set to 8 or 12. Let's do this. Let's switch this. I'm gonna switch this to 6, and then I'm gonna switch our array. I'm gonna double our array. So I'm gonna double this to 6. I'm gonna double this to 12, and now that's another good way of getting variety. Like, we've already just made a pretty nice change. Except we need our scale. We need this to fill our frame now. So we need to go here to scale, and we need to push this guy up. Push him up some more, and he's really got to fill the frame. he's almost off center, so yep, I'm gonna grab the camera and I'm just gonna move the camera just a tiny bit. I'm just gonna move the camera down just the tiniest bit. Well, let's see. Yeah, just a little bit down. Okay. All right, this gives us a better shot of how off center we are. Something like that, and I just want us to be as centered as possible. So right there looks good. And here's a variety. Too much darkness. We need more action, so we're gonna play around. I'm gonna play here. Six might have been too small. There's not a lot of detail in 6. Let's do one other thing. Let's add a mirror. I'm gonna add a mirror. I'm gonna add the mirror up top before the subdivision. And I might try both. Yeah, okay, this is pretty interesting. All right. Yeah, we're starting to chug. We're starting to chug a little bit because now we've got a lot more going on. So I might turn off the preview for subdivision just so we can see our pace. Okay, this is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with this. I think I'm going to use this as a second. I just want to check the framing one last time here. Right here. Yeah, see, we're off still just a little bit. We need to take this and we need to push it down. Oh, I need to make sure that I'm not animating these. Go to timeline. No, okay, we're fine. All right. I just want to make sure I wasn't putting keyframes in for the camera. And all right, let's go to right here. Now we're off to the left. Just trying to make sure that the camera is centered as well as possible when we're doing our scale, so that it fills the frame. Okay, this is cool. I'm gonna export this one as our second layer because I like it. So it is going to do the subdivision. Let me just check what the subdivision looks like. I almost like it better without subdivision, and that could be another. Nah, we'll keep it. All right, we'll keep it. It's a little bright right here, but that's okay. It'll be. We'll take care of it. Actually, let's tweak our colors a little bit. Let's go into the shader editor. I'm gonna make this top one actually sort of gray. See what happens. Yeah, okay, I don't like that. Maybe just make it full black. Yeah, okay, this will layer really nicely. Cool. BPM synced 120. I'm going to export this one as our second sequence. We do not want to overwrite and render frames. I will be back. Okay, Blender is done rendering our second loop. So we're gonna kind of do a similar thing here. So at this time, I'm gonna make the size bigger, and I'm gonna remove our arrays, and I'm gonna rely more on the mirror. Now I need to find out where we're at. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so now we got this mirror going. I'm thinking I'm just gonna add another mirror. Basically just get us like a 2-part thing going here. Maybe on the Y? What's going on here? Let's see. I guess I need an empty. And we'll go back here and we'll say, put it on the empty. I think we can move our empty. Ooh, what's going on here? That doesn't seem to be working at all. Okay, cool. Does this? Yeah, all right. Let's do that. I guess I'm going to use the mirror from Morpheus and see if it helps or not. I have weird mirror things, so that's why I made this. That's why I had to make this other mirror tool. Cool. We just want Y. All right, cool. That didn't work at all. All right, because it jumped back to the middle as soon as we press play. Right. So let's try this. Let's try this one on empty. Now we can grab empty, and there we go. All right, let's see if that works now. All right, there we go. Fun times. Okay, we need to reset our camera, so I'm going to just do top down again. You don't have to do top down. There are interesting other ways of doing this. All right, rotate, move. We're gonna center our origin if we can. Yeah, I was afraid that was gonna do that. Okay, I'm not gonna do that then. I'm just gonna keep it here. Nope, don't do that. I'm gonna hide X-ray mode so I see what I'm looking at, and we'll say okay, view, line active camera view. And now we're at least we're getting closer here. Okay, here, go down. Something like this. Okay, now we can try to get this to fill our screen again. And I think we're gonna want to, we're gonna want to up our resolution this time. And I'm gonna take out the subdivision just so we can. Oh yeah, I was worried about this. Yep, it's just gonna chug because we're just, it's doing some tough animating here. Let me think about this. Let me consider, because we're gonna need the subdivision to come back. So we'll just turn it off in viewport, and we'll bump our resolution back down. It's more important to have the speed right. Okay. Just trying to get to an interesting place here now by playing with values. A lot of experimenting here. You're just playing around. Find something that you like. That's the whole idea. So this is actually a pretty cool little sequence here. Our camera's too far away. We're gonna get in there. Okay, this is doing some interesting stuff. I feel like I can work with this. Just turning this back on and off just to see like what we might get out of it. Base value of 6, so this is scale. R2. I'm gonna start from the bottom. I'm just gonna play with stuff and make changes until I like them. Where do we start at? -0.1. What's -1 look like? What's 1 look like? It's a cool effect. All right. Yep, trying to keep in mind again, like these things will be layered, so temporary activity is welcome. It doesn't have to be permanently doing something cool. The fact that it has a lot of negative space just means that your other layers can be visible at the same time. Although I really don't like some of these changes I made here, so I'm going to step back a little bit. I think this is, go back to that. That's probably the closest we've been so far. We'll get there. We'll find something. Somewhere in here it'll be good. Right. Okay, I see what's going on. So this is our scale. -5 maybe. We're stepping back. This happens because there's a lot of experimenting happening here, which means there's a lot of good moments and a lot of bad moments. Well, don't care for any of that. What's factor 1 doing? I really just I'm trying to get a little more steady activity. It's going dark pretty fast. So I'm gonna step back. We're gonna focus on our color map here. Let's say, okay, let's set this guy to white. All right, that helps quite a bit. Helps quite a bit, but now there's just like too much going on. Oh, I can't get a black. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, fairly interesting. Not centered though. It's thing one. So we need to center this. So the right way to do this is to turn off your mirror so you can see your midpoint line. Go to your camera. Go to viewport display, visibility. Oh man, I can always forget where to find this stuff. In camera, viewport display, composition guides, center, thirds, and then you have to, where is it? Where is it? Composition guides. I forget how to add in the guides. Like colors, origin, statistics. Safe areas? Center got safe areas? Safe areas? No, you don't want that. Yeah, there's a way to show. Okay. That at least shows our dead center. Yeah. All right. And we're actually in a pretty good place, I guess. Because if we turn this back on. All right. So we're just tiny off. Just off the tiniest amount. Right there. All right. So now we're centered. Press play. See where we're at. Turn all this stuff off. It's got this big black box of nothing happening in the middle, and it's pretty busy. Yeah, it's pretty busy. So let's just keep playing. All right, that's more interesting, or closer, I should say. Yeah, a lot of experimenting, a lot of like, well, this isn't working. Oh, okay, this looks cool. All right, kind of neat. What is going on here? Can I make this white? Still disappearing pretty fast. So I'm trying to see which one of these guys is making it disappear so fast. Maybe this one? If I crank this up, will it? I'll keep it around. Yeah. All right. Ooh, okay. This looks pretty cool. If I can make that gray blocks, if we can make the gray black, I think we're in a good spot. Let's see. I don't want to do that. Let's just make this black. Let's see what it looks like. Well, okay, so closer. We're closer. We're closer. There's just a little too much going on in the scaling, especially. What is this going up to? This is going up to 12, 10. So one of these is like, I want to find this one. It would help if you're good with your names. If you're better at keeping your names, then you can scroll this out and you can actually see your names in here. So I'll try changing this to 1. Let's just do like 1 and 3 and see what happens. Oh, I don't think that helped at all. All right, there we go. That's cool. It's pretty crazy. This is pretty cool. Let's see. Maybe amplitude. I want to turn it up just a tiny bit more. Okay, the only thing that I don't love about this is that it's hard black and white. There's really no. I'll step back a couple. There's really no dimension. This is like duotone, almost anime lines. But I do really like the pattern. So what I'm gonna do is pause. We need to just bring in some gray. We need to bring in some values here. Let's just try like something like that and see if it helps. Yeah, that helps quite a bit. I actually really like this. I think this is gonna look really cool when it's layered. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good one. Let's check our subdivision. What does it look like with subdivision? Yeah, I think this is gonna look cool. I'm gonna call this our third one, and I might just make a variety of this actually. Yep, I'm happy with it. Render to frames. This will be our third loop. All right, we're back. Yep, Blender has finished rendering out this second loop, or excuse me, this third loop now. And I just want to make one more variety because I actually really like this one. I think it's going to play really nicely as a layer, and so I just want to have a few varieties of this. So I'm going to make this real easy on myself, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add one. I'm going to add one to each base value, and I'm going to subtract one from each amplitude. So here I'm going to say minus 3.58, and here I'm going to say 7.42. Here I'm going to say 3, and we'll just do 0.25. We don't have to be consistent. We'll just call this 12, and we'll call this 2. We'll call this 4.8 and 1. We'll call this, we'll just do 1 and 1 here. And then, oh wait, that's a ramp position. So we'll do 0.25 and 0.5. F3, I'm gonna call, maybe do something really different here, like 10 and 12. And then down here, what do we got? 3 and 1, so maybe 5 and 2. Let's see what we get. A little bit too much darkness, but good variety. Okay, the other thing is we need to get our camera in there. I don't want to try and do this again with factors, so I'm gonna get our camera just. Well, that's really interesting. Get our camera in there. Yeah, not quite that in there. Maybe like right there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we get. We might need to change the clipping plane here. Where is our clipping plane? Clip start. We'll just do 0.01 and 5,000. Let's see what we get. All right, so it's disappeared for too long, so we need to make some changes. Also, our camera is doing funny stuff. Let's see what we get. What was this, like 18 or something? All right, we need to go back to our scale. Scale Z, we'll just try 10. What's this? This is our original scale. Well, we lost it, so we need to step back. We need to get back to colorful place here. Because we are just looking for some simple variety. What happens if I switch to these guys? No bueno. Okay, so we're trying to figure out how to keep this guy a bit more alive, so to speak. One of these sliders will do it. I need this thing to be bigger. Come on, let's see here. Not too big. Yeah, somewhere in here. We're getting closer. We always get there eventually. All right. To me, okay, that's interesting. All right, we're just trying to get somewhere a little smoother. I might actually just undo. All right, we're closer. We're gonna get there eventually. Okay, we're getting lots of pulse changes here. We want to calm down the pulsing. Smooth is always better than glitchy. Well, not always, but some personal preference. Just letting this one soak a little bit. It also helps to have your statistics on, just because sometimes you think that you're seeing things in a good time, but like if your FPS is 12, then you know, you're gonna, the real time is gonna be 3 times as fast, which is just gonna be way too much going on. I like parts of this, but like this part I really don't like at all. So we're just gonna try and work that out. Oh, that's actually a pretty interesting effect. Here's an interesting strobe effect. Okay, so it looks like factor 1 is going to help us quite a bit if we can dial it in. I'm just going to make a pretty small. Where does this live best? Yeah, I think it's best right around here. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, that's a cool effect. What does it look like without? Sometimes, honestly, sometimes without subdivision can be pretty interesting looking. All right, there's a little bit too much. There's like some weird gray stuff. You got to be careful with your grays. Most of the time, hards of black or white do play better. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Okay, I don't hate this. I think that we can do better. All right, we're just playing with values now, trying to find our happy place basically. So this looks like as we go up here, it kind of becomes. I wonder what the extremes look like. A lot of stream of thought going on, guys. I just there's just a lot of playing around. You just play with it until you find something you like. I'm just trying to calm down the rate of change. The rate of change is just a little bit too high for my liking. I think I liked it better back when we were around here. This is cool. Okay, so again, just remembering these are going to be layered, so we don't need a ton of activity on each one. Simpler and more more dynamic is going to be better than sort of just like constant and in your face. So I like these changes. I like to see it disappear and come back. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. Let's see here. Oh, I haven't even brought up this idea. So you can actually you can modulate an LFO with an LFO, and that gets pretty interesting. So you can do this. This might actually make some really interesting results here. It may also make it. Yeah, it's gonna make the rate of change even higher. But it can be really cool. Alright, I actually kind of like this. I like where we're getting as another loop. So just continuing to play until I find something that I like. And when you find something that you like, just print out a image sequence and keep going. You don't have to it doesn't have to be like a final result. You can make another one and mix them together after. So let's see what we got here. I actually really like this. This is it's doing interesting things here. Yeah, I like this. I'm gonna make this another loop. I just want it to fill. I want it to fill our frame a little bit more. So we're gonna take our camera. We're gonna pause. Take our camera. Get it in there a little bit more. Oh yeah, okay. So there is some sort of clipping thing happening. I haven't actually looked at our geometry in a while. So this is what the solid view looks like. Here's what the rendered view looks like. That's cool, but I actually, it's cool, but I honestly think I liked where we were a couple steps ago. Although that is cool. I'm gonna step back. I just liked it better without everything going on. I think this is just a better look. So the question then is, how do we fill the frame without bringing in the extras? So I think, let's see if we can just take scale and push it up or not. Scale Z. Let's see if we can just push this up to like 12 or not. Or bring it down, I guess. Not surprising. It might be upside down. Yeah, but now we've brought back in all that mess. Okay. Yeah, somewhere in here. Yeah, I kind of like this. I do think this is going to make for cool effect when it's layered. What is this at 1? What if I change this to like -5? Too much going on. We'll go back. I think I'm just gonna commit to this. I guess the only thing I might try is just to bring in a little bit of grays. Let's try making this gray. Can I make this white? Let's see what happens here. All right. Probably could have been 2 different renders. Yeah, I actually think that's pretty cool. Let's see. What if we turn this off? Nah, we're gonna want that on. Okay, it's cool. I still think I liked our other result better, so I'm just gonna step back. I do. I think this is gonna play the best as a layer, and so I'm gonna stick with this. The question is, do we want it to fill or not? And I like this. I'm gonna stick with this as our last. Okay, I like this. I think it's gonna layer really well, so I'm gonna stick with this as our last loop, and we'll go ahead and export this one. Pause, and we'll just say okay, render. Oh, all right, Blender is done with that one. So now we're gonna try to make two more, and we're gonna start from scratch. So we're gonna delete all these. I'm going to remove all of these drivers. Let's just get through here real quick. And I'm gonna actually remove my LFOs so I can start from scratch with the LFOs. And let's see, this time we're gonna do things a little bit different. Let's go with mitochondria. Sure, why not? Okay, so this time we got this one. I'm gonna apply that same separate Z material just so we can have something to look at here. And I just want to use some different modifiers here. I want to see if deform. I'm not 100% sure if well, let's add a wave. Might as well add a wave. Doesn't hurt. I am going to just set up some LFOs again. Just say, okay, BPM 120. We're good. Our timeline is still good. Yeah, actually, forget the wave. Let's see. I want to see if this works or not. Let's see. If we do this and we just apply it here, can we? The question is, can we do this? Yeah. All right. All right. Cool. So what am I going to do? I'm going to neat. I'm going to make this smaller. I'm going to make this like 8, pretty small. I'm going to make a circle out of this. I'm going to use this to make, I'm going to use Morpheus to make a ring out of this. I also don't know if this is going to work or not. I don't know if it's going to work after doing this, I should say. And 8, we'll do 8 by 12. And we want to put it up there. Is that going to work? Yeah, all right, that is going to work. Cool. Cool. And I'm going to add a mirror as well. Let's see what we get here. Still works. Excellent. All right. Different setup. So now we've got, we're doing a little twist, a little twisty twist or bend here. And then we're doing a mirror. And now we need to fix our camera. I want to take this whole thing and rotate it so it's properly set up for my cam. We'll go here. Oh, sorry. We'll say view, cameras, or align view, align active camera to view. And that didn't work at all for some reason. What happened? Oh, I guess it did work. That's interesting. Okie dokie. Active camera. Is this a clipping issue still? I'm doing something funky happened with this camera. I'm just gonna delete it. Camera. View. Align view. Alright, yeah, there was something funky. Not quite centered yet, are we? Alright, go back to here. And we'll come back down into here and say trying to get our we did this earlier. I already forgot where it's at. Let's see, center. Oh man, limits. All right, there we go. I just needed a center marker. Let's get this perfectly centered. Cool. Zoom out a little bit. Can hide most of this. Awesome. Got something that looks terrible, but it's going to be exactly what we need. Now we're going to frame her a little better. There we go. All right, now we can start with our next batch. We're gonna make 2 more, so I'm gonna target 6. I just want to make sure that we get to, yeah, 2 more is what we're going for. And we're gonna pull this out so we have access to our LFOs again. There they are. Okay. So use BPM, division, 1 divided by 16. Let's see here. I wonder if we just do like, I'm gonna switch this over to our timeline. All right, cool. We're gonna get things moving. We are gonna want a scale Z again, so I'll call this scale Z. If you change your LFO name, you have to reassign it because it works based off name. So if I change this to F1, this is gonna stop working. So we have to recopy, reapply, and then you're good. And this is scale Z, so I want to take this. I don't know why this has automation on it. That shouldn't have any automation on it. And we're going to apply that to the scale Z. And also another easier way to do what I just did, if you, I'll step back, you can just hit scale Z and then quick apply. And it does the same thing. All right, cool. Use BPM. I'm going to say 1 divided by 16. I might say 1 divided by 8. Something funny. All right, our mirror is causing a little bit of, looks like overlap. Yeah, it doesn't look bad though, so I'm gonna leave it. It doesn't look too bad. It has moments, so we'll just keep an eye on that. If we do have to fix it, we can fix it. Well, for now, we'll just keep an eye on it. What does scale do here? What's the difference for us? Nothing important. Okay. Right, so the actual areas that we have to work with are rather small. What about Z? Yeah, I don't want to do that. Don't really want to do that either. Just playing with stuff right now, seeing what kind of changes make. Yeah, okay, that's cool. We'll do add LFO, F4. We'll take it, we'll apply it. Use BPM, 1 divided by maybe 4. Let's try 4 with the triangle, see what happens. And let's get some amplitude going. Let's do like 5 and 5. Right, the problem is that we're just not working with a whole lot. Like, I bet if that's closer. Cool. All right, pretty cool effect either way. What do we have? We have an array, we have a ringer array going, we have a simple deform, so we can play with this, and that'll be a cool, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so what do we have? Let's see what it looks like. We're gonna call this deform. Take that, apply it here. And, oh yeah, neat stuff going on now. All right, I'm trying to decide if I'm okay with this overlap or not. I think it's actually kind of cool. It does create some, like, you know, some fighting, but yeah, I don't know, I kind of like it. All right, so I wouldn't mind if this whole thing pulsed in size a bit more. And I think what I'm gonna do is accomplish that with a scale LFO here. And I just want to scale X and Y together. So let's see. Yeah, okay, all right, use BPM. 1 divided by 16. Cool, all right. That's pretty cool. And we'll just say a higher base value. That's too high. 1.2 maybe? Maybe 0.5 and 1. Neat. All right. And you know, to fight this, I think no, that's not gonna work. Can't do that. That's not gonna work either. I was thinking of trying to come up with a way to sort of pull these apart and push them back together. Let me think about that, because I think you would have to go into here. I don't know. We may just have to live with this one for this version. Where are we at? Let's see. Press play. Nice. Okay, I actually think this is pretty cool. It's definitely usable. The only thing I would say. Cool. All right, so now we're just checking out what the different deforms look like. So here's taper on the X, taper on the Y. I mean, these could each be a very, very simple variation. Taper on the Z looks terrible. Stretch on the Y, stretch on the X. Kind of cool. What does twist look like? Twist on the X, twist on the Y. Ooh, I think this one might be my favorite. There's some kind of like hitchy thing going on, but I don't hate it. This is cool. I would consider that as a variation. Twist on the Z, probably not so much. Here's bend. Probably not so much. Yeah, not so much. Taper we liked, I think. Yeah, we like taper on the Y. Ooh, taper on the X. I don't hate it. Don't hate it, don't love it. I think we like twist the best. Just playing, just seeing what I like, guys. This is a big part of the process, is seeing what you can come up with. Right, okay, cool. So we can also do this. Yep, I like both of these. And there's an offset that we can. Yeah, okay, all right. I definitely want to modulate this offset value. So we're going to say add LFO, offset. We'll try 1 and 1, use BPM. I'm going to say division 1 divided by, I don't know, 64. We'll try 64. See what we get. Too far. It's going too far. Whoa. That was interesting. Wow. Okie dokie. Let's. Pretty interesting results. Yeah, crazy. That's crazy town. All right. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. Okay. I think I really like this. Kind of just letting it do its thing. I think the 1 divided by 64 is our problem. 1 divided by, we need it to loop. So we want to make sure that it loops in our timeline, which I think this fixed. This is cool. I think it does get a little bit too big, I guess, and it gets too small as well. So what if I just did 0.5? Yeah, okay. What about 0.5 here? Uh, 0.1 maybe? 0.1. Just gonna keep it small. Neat. Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. So what if we do both? I don't think we want to do both. I like the circles. We're getting somewhere. Just playing around. This looks like it'll work to me. And then does this need to be automated? Ooh, we can definitely automate this too. All right, so we'll do an array count mod. So we'll say count, grab this, put it on count. And then we're just gonna need to say like a base value, probably like 6, amplitude of 3, bipolar, BPM, 1 divided by 16. That's cool. Let's see what it's doing. What the solid looks like. Yeah, just trying to decide if I want to keep that or not. I'm gonna do like 9 and 3. Yeah, I like it. Again, I think it's gonna layer well. It is very harsh black and white, so this is the last thing I'm gonna try and change here. I'm gonna go into our shader editor and try to reintroduce some values. And that'll just make our coloring more interesting when we get around to coloring it. Another thing I want to check is, do we have? We don't. We're not subdividing at all right now. This might not make it look better. I'm gonna be honest. It might make it worse. So we're gonna. Okay, now the fighting is a little bit worse. Let's do something like that. We'll go to this guy, make him black. Go to this guy, make him white. Let's see what we get. Yeah, the fighting is going to be worse if you introduce variety. Basically the two options are to either make it hard black and white like we had before, or we can step into here and say use an empty. And now we're not. Now there's just a tiny bit of overlap, so we can fix the overlap by going like that. Okay, now we need to fix our camera. And switch to the camera. And switch back to here. And now dead center is going to be right there. And we'll switch to this. We'll go back to this. Now there won't be any overlap, but I'm not convinced that that's for the best. So we're gonna take a look at it. Yeah, in fact, you just never know. I mean, sometimes this stuff looks a lot better with the effect going on. Right. Okay. I just liked it better, so I'm gonna step all the way back. I'm gonna step all the way back to hard white, right here, I believe. Yeah, I think that this is gonna look cool. Okay. I just want it to stop right about here in size, so we just need to keep our size a little bigger. Is this the scale we want to play with? Yeah. Not quite that big. That was too big. We'll do like 0.35 so it doesn't scale as much. Nice. All right. Yep. Cool. I like this. Cool. Yep. Gonna make this our next loop, so I'm just gonna export this, and then we'll make one more, and then we'll go into. All right. Blender's done, so we've got 5 loops now, and we're gonna make a 6th. And I think to make this real quick and easy, I'm probably just gonna play around with our deform type here. Yeah, play around with the deform type, and then let's get some of this stuff split up differently here. We don't want to be exactly the same. Let's just switch back here. So we got that deform, and then we have this deform as well. Yeah, there's gonna be some crazy stuff going on here. Let's see. That is if we wanted to do yay. Let's just see what we get. Let's see what we get going here. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm going for here. Just gonna try and make something cool and different. This isn't it. I can tell you that right now. This ain't it. All right. Might have to be We may be starting from scratch. Let's see. Let's try to do like 0.05. Let's make something real small. We don't need it to go crazy, folks. 1. Scale Z is fine. What do we got here? What was the original bin Z? Probably, yeah. All right, that's oddly cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like this effect. It's weird. Can we mess with this factor at all? 0.1. Can we just take this and put it on here? See what happens. All right, it's different. Taper. Why? Yeah, it looks like we're gonna be sticking with bend of some kind. Probably just. That's cool. It's doing some interesting things. We may be switching. I might start from scratch though. Let's see. Depends on how successful we are here. I do feel like we should be able to get something. This is neat. This is cool. There's something will happen here. Stepping back. Nice. Okay. Where are these scales at? Is it this one? It does look like it's this one. Okay, by empty. Now now's probably a good time to move to empty. Although it doesn't, it looks like we're not referencing the empty anymore. Blink. Okay, I'm gonna need this to be centered. Okay. Lots of experimenting, folks. Lots of experimenting. Ooh, okay. Now this is getting somewhere here. Well, I don't really know what's going on, so let's keep an eye on what's actually happening. Okay, we need to bring this down. Bring this down. Lining it up. All right. It's pretty cool. But we just kind of want to, well, we kind of want to do a bunch of stuff. Probably number one is just see if we can get a little bit more action happening. Cool. I actually like, I do like what's happening here. It's different. Just want to play around now, and I like where we're at. I think that this alone would be an interesting layer on top of stuff. I just want it to have a little bit more action for the sake of this purpose, but this could be a pretty cool layer by itself. So let's just find the right way to, I essentially just kind of want to squish all this stuff together. So, because we're just a little bit, we're getting just a little too wide. I would like to just kind of squish down the the scale breadth here. So what does this do? Seems like it made it kind of worse. I'm trying to always keep in mind what it actually looks like in real time. Oh man, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, that's a cool effect. I like stuff like this. All right. All right, we've lost a little bit of action, so I'm going to undo. Kind of the same thing. I mean, I actually really like it. It's just like that little click that happens. Whoa, way too much. All right, way too much, way too much. Way too much sauce. Oh man, we're so close. I feel so close because I really like so much of what's happening. This is F1. Neat. All right. What if we bring this back a bit? Okay, I think it's going to be really cool if we modulate this base value. So, is there anything close to that, or should I just make a new one? All right, I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to call this LFO mod. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to apply it to the base value here. I'm going to say add driver. Paste. And then you can see this actually changing, but I want it to go up. I want it to be from like 5 to 10. And 5 to 5, I guess 5 to 2. Bipolar. Use BPM. 1 divided by 16. All right. How are we looking? Yeah, this is cool. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. It's also still hard black and white. So I'm gonna do. I'm gonna surprise everybody. I'm gonna delete this color ramp. I think our color ramp sort of needs a fresh start. So I'm gonna say new color ramp, color to color, and now we should be able to sort of make this a little more interesting. I'm gonna go like this. Some white, add another dark gray, push it up, add another black, hard black, and I guess the big question is why is it not switch to linear? Huh, interesting. Okay, we're not getting any real shift in our color value here. Oh, don't forget to do this. All right, and don't forget to do this. And switch this back. Maybe switch this back. And we screwed something up. All right, we screwed something up. I'm gonna try that again. I'm pretty sure it should be working a little better than that. Boink. What is this? What is going on? Why is that color not separating? 1, 1, 1. Oh. There we go. Screwed the pooch on that. All right. Now we can add some value here. I'm going to push this up. Push it to black. Push this up. Push it to white. And what are we doing here? If we press play. Okay. Alrighty. Push that to white. Cool. Push that to black. Push this to white. Nice. We're gonna need another black. We're basically just trying to create striations here. Like if you imagine a cliffside, right? And you see little striations in the cliff side for different ages. That's exactly what we're trying to do here to help us visualize the different cuts. All right, I don't hate it, but it can be better, and we definitely want to modulate the color. So let's do that. So we want to grab one of these white ones. Doink. And that should make our color action quite a bit more dynamic. Cool. What is our solid view looking like? So this is what the mesh is doing, if you're curious. Woo! Alright. I kind of like this, actually. I think this could be a layer. So I'll make three layers of this, because it'll be really easy to make different layers. So, well, don't hold me to that. This might be our last one. Let's see. All right, so we're happy with it. We're gonna say render frames and see what we get. Okay, so we have rendered out our 6 loops from Blender, and now we're just going to bring them into Resolume here. And we're going to make our composition and play around with Resolume effects to make our final result. All right, let's just see what we got here. Cool. I might change the speed on some of these guys to either half speed or quarter speed, just depending on how they look. Don't really need a preview monitor here. This guy I might set to 0.5. And we'll just get a few of these going. Same thing here, 0.5. And let's start playing with some effects. Like, I know that the bendoscope is probably going to look pretty good here. Neat. And there is a dot matrix that I really like. Yeah, dot screen, I should say. We'll just bring that down a bit. Make those dots a little bigger. Cool. All right. Now we've got like this comic book effect kind of going on here that looks pretty cool. And I believe we can, I don't know if hue's gonna work here. We might need to color some stuff. I'm gonna hit record just so whatever we do from here is getting recorded. This actually looks kind of cool. What happens if we flip? We'll bring it back down. I wonder if Kaleido will work on these guys. Yeah, all right. Things are going to be pretty interesting here. We're going to want to be able to color this stuff, though. Nice. There's a lot of stuff going on already. Right. We need some color. So let's go. We need some color that's not like this full RGB. Not that I don't like this. It's just, it is actually kind of cool. Bring this dot screen down even more. All right, getting pretty busy. We're just playing around, just finding stuff that we like. Does hue affect that? Yeah, all right, well, that is actually kind of nice. And then does this change? Sorry guys, I don't spend that much time in here, so you know, I'm always just kind of playing around. Things are looking pretty cool though. What do we have here? Kaleido will come out. Nice, okay. And then we can switch and, whoa, all right. So some of these are gonna be way too fast. All right, so this one's gonna need to come way down. So we're gonna just set up our speeds just so that they're not too crazy here. I'm actually gonna step through it. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's gonna look bad until we get off of the same loop. Same thing, this probably needs to be 0.5. Have faith, fear not, we will get there. Just getting set up. This is obviously a little crazy at this point. 1.5, that's not what we want. We want 0.5. It's like all these are a little too fast. And it might be, we may have not set our, this will be better to set this. Okay. Alrighty. What do we got? Where are we here? I guess we'll switch to half here. Oh, this needs to be, that should update. Cool. All right, so we've got some interesting things going on now. after just a little bit of playing around, yeah, the dot screen is always an interesting effect. It's just too fast. Let's see. Alrighty. Flip. Mirror. Turn collide off, maybe. Turn RGB off. Yeah, let's do like 0.5. 125. 0.5. And we're just going to play with different mixing amounts. Nice, okay. Trying to find some kind of balance between busy and aesthetically pleasing. Active, but smooth and all right. Really kind of some interesting stuff happening here. Third, is it the darken? Is that why? Yeah, I think it's from the darken effect. Always check your blend layers. Your blend layers are going to make a huge difference. You know, step through them until you get something that you like. They obviously make a very big difference. The dot screen is just so cool. All right. Ah, okay. Here we go. We've arrived in Crazy Town. Cool. Very, very cool. That's cool. Nice. Okay. Yeah, from here, guys, it's really just playing and having fun, seeing what you can make. So there you go. It's from here it's really just a bunch of experimenting and playing around. You got loops, play with your different your blend types, play with your effects, and yeah, have fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial video. Hope it helps you get some use out of Fractality and see sort of how it was like intended to be used. And yeah, make some cool stuff, make some fun videos, and see what you can do. Cheers.